Hey, welcome back. When you arrive at a PRS match, first thing you're going to do is check in and you are going to get a match book. And taking this match book and turning it into controllable and understood data so that you can use it during a match is a critical skill. So today I'm going to teach you how to use your Kestrel 5700 Elite with sectors in order to keep track of all of your stages so that you can just go from one to the next in a very efficient and effective way, making your workflow easier so that you can have the data you need when you need it without having to spend a bunch of time fooling with your Kestrel between stages. Let's get to it. So guys, in order to get all this into the Kestrel, you obviously need at least two things. You need the match book and your Kestrel. Now I'm going to add one more thing to the tool list for today, and that is your cell phone, because using the app makes this much easier. Scrolling through the Kestrel trying to put ranges in is, well, mind-numbing, and I don't want to do that to you. So for today we're going to use the cell phone to input the sector data, and we're going to put this Kestrel in my phone holder just to keep it up here where I can film it so that you can see what I'm doing. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously turn the Kestrel on, because we need to have the Bluetooth active. If your Kestrel doesn't have the Bluetooth turned on, go to the instructions for your Kestrel, turn on the Bluetooth. I also happen to use the pin, that way nobody else can affect my Kestrel while I'm in a match. So now that the Kestrel is active, we're going to activate our cell phone, pick the app and open it. At this point I'm going to go ahead and start screen recording so that you can see what I see in my phone. I'll put it over there on the screen, and away we go. It connected to my device. The first thing I do anytime I arrive at a match is go ahead and update the Kestrel latitude. It's set it to 48. Yes, I am 48 degrees north of the equator. It's got a little bit of Coriolis effect out here, but that really doesn't matter because the Kestrel compensates for it. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our target card, the second set down. Now I've been playing with this, so I'm going to stop for a moment here, go into my Kestrel, go down to target card, and where it says one sector, just go ahead and push the center button again, and you get into your sector selection menu. Now I'm going to go down to manage sectors, and then I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom and hit delete all. Now you don't need to do this. I'm doing this just to reset my Kestrel so I can show you how to do it from the very beginning if you haven't been using sectors. If you already have sectors in, don't worry, it's not going to be a problem. What I tend to do in that case is I go ahead and clear each sector as I work, and I'll show you how to do that, so that I have every sector fresh, clean, and with no extraneous data in it, because extraneous data is bad data as far as I'm concerned. All right, we're going to start with backing out from where we were and go back to that target card all the way to the beginning. We're going to come down to target card in the main menu, hit the center button, and then hit the center button again. We're just going to sit here on sector 1, and I want to push up arrow one time so that we're on one sector. Now we're going to put in our very first stage. So the first stage, this is the 2023 PRS Northwest Regional Finale. I just picked up the match book because I happen to have it on the bench, and we see that we have 4 targets here. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There you go. 1001, 1144, 1205, and 1355. So let's go ahead and put those into our Kestrel. So we're going to go into the app, and we're not going to use the sector button up here in the top right hand corner. That doesn't work well for me. I'm going to do it directly into the Kestrel as I go. So let me show you how. The first thing we're going to do is down in the bottom here, the center button is edit targets. We're going to click that. That makes them all editable. The very next thing I'm going to do, this is how you control your data to make sure you don't have problems, is you hit clear targets and then you tell it yes. That clears all the targets down to 0 yards. Now they're actually going to fill at 100 yards or your 0 range, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not bad data. Now, starting with target A at the top, we're just going to touch the 0 up there for the range, and we're going to put in 1001. And you can either hit done or you can hit the next one down twice. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to hit the next one down twice, and then I'm going to go into the next one, 1144. And the next one twice, and I go 1205. And the next one twice, and I go 1355. I then hit done. And I hit the center button that says send targets and compute. And it's going to ask if I want to replace the data in the Kestrel. Absolutely I do for sector 1. Now, don't touch your Kestrel until it feeds back the data from each one of those targets. It doesn't matter what this says. This isn't what you're going to use during the match. I'm just making sure that it all got to the Kestrel. Now, if I went in and looked at my targets in the Kestrel, they would be in here. So let's go target inputs for a moment and just look. And we see that we have 1001, 1144, 1205, and 1355. We're going to push the gear button, the back button, and go back up to where it says sector. Now I want to push the right-hand button, and it's going to say new sector. Now, there is a button sequence that you need to learn because you just don't need to take your time and waste it. It's going to use the term sector. You could change it to stage, but if you want to respell every one of 20, you're going to spend some time. I personally don't, so I push the center button. I then push the gear button, the back button, and that makes it to sector. I need to do absolutely nothing else. Now I go back to my phone. I turn the page to stage 2. Called trapped. It has one target, 317 yards. This is where you can get bad data, so we're going to go back to the phone. We're going to press edit targets. We're going to press clear targets, and yes, that gets rid of all the targets. We're then going to go to target A. We're going to put in 317, hit done, and send and compute. And we're going to replace with yes, and away we go. We wait for it to feed back to us. And that's in there. We'll check that in just a minute. Let's just go ahead and go back to the Kestrel, hit the right-hand button, the center button, the gear button, and let's do stage 3, which is called skills. It's one target at 400 yards. This is the old skills stage, not the new one. So we go back to the phone, we say edit targets, we hit clear targets, yes. We change target A to 400 yards, we hit done, we hit send and targets and compute, tell it yes, and it puts it into sector 3. While that's going on, we're just going to go ahead and turn the page to stage 4, which is benches, one target at 600 yards. This is a very easy one to do. There's going to be some more complex stages in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and go back to our Kestrel, push the right-hand button, the center button, the gear button, and we're on sector 4. Remember, right, center, gear. If you can do that, you can do anything. Hit edit targets on our phone. We're going to go clear targets and go yes. I use the clear rather than just changing 400 to 600. You can just change 400 to 600 if you want. Hit done. And send targets and compute, tell it yes, and wait for it to feed back to you that it has received the data. You're all done there. Right, center, gear, and we're on stage 5. Flip the thing over and we have 2 targets now, 636 and 702 yards. So we're gonna go edit targets, clear targets, yes. I missed the yes button that time. Now, this is an interesting one. You notice the cursor's on the wrong side of the 0. This can become a problem in a real hurry. If you get that messed up, you'll get 6,360 yards, and that might not give you good data. So make sure you're on the right-hand side of the 0. You just got to touch over there on the other side, 636. We're now going to go to B, hit it twice, so that we can get it 702. 636, 702, we're going to hit done. We're going to send and compute, and hit yes. Now, this is 20 stages. I'm only going to put 10 in today. If you need to do 20, you can just keep going until you get to 20. 10 stages is 1 day typically, but I always put in all 20 when I do it. Okay, stage 5 is done. Right, center, gear. Now, if you do not have to put in a new one, you just go up here on sector, you just go right, and you're on the next one. You don't need the center and gear if you already have the sectors in, if you're just clearing the sectors. Okay, stage 6 is TYL confirmed, so I have 373, 305, and 490. So let's go ahead and go edit targets, clear targets, yes. 373. Oops, I missed it, didn't I? Make sure you put your data in correctly. 305 and 490. Now I'm out at a trailhead today instead of at the range. I don't have a firearm with me. And there's people coming and going. You'll hear voices in the background. Don't worry about it. It's just where I happen to be filming. Okay, send and compute. Tell it yes, and wait for it to respond to you for sector 6. 1, 2, 3 targets returned, all done. I just hit right, center, gear. Just like that, go to stage 7. Stage 7 is 2 targets, 333 and 549, so we go edit. This is getting old, isn't it? Same thing over and over again, but I just want to show you how easy it is. It's not a very long process. And we'll kind of run a timer on how long it takes to do this. And I'll put a time code right there so you can skip ahead to the end if you have seen enough of this. Hit done, hit send and compute, yes, and we wait. We wait for it to tell us it is done, and here we go. Right, center, gear, and we're on stage 8. Stage 8, if you'll excuse me for a moment while I turn the page here, is the tire stage, 360 and 447. So edit clear. And it goes that quick. Go ahead and flip the thing over. The next one is going to be, and I'm waiting for it to return. Okay, it's all done. Right center gear, and I have 536, 690, and 847. This is why I always clear the target so I don't accidentally get the same target over again, because it's real easy to mess yourself up if you aren't paying really close attention. So I just clear everything before I go. That way, if I have the right number of targets in my target card, I know I have the correct targets. And there is stage 9. It is uploading, and done. There it is. Okay, let's go to stage 10. Right center gear, sound familiar? Yeah, there we go. Okay, now on this one I have 2 targets, 426 and 554. Now I have 3 targets. This is why we clear things. That way I don't have to clear out C for myself. It clears it for me. And 554. Done. Send and compute, yes. And it is done. We have now put all 10 sectors into our Kestrel. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and take the phone out of the equation because there's no reason to have the phone anymore. I'm going to go ahead and stop my recording. A minute, or what was that, 8 minutes? Let me see, I've been recording for 11 minutes and 40 seconds at this point, including the introduction. So you get the idea how easy this really is. 10 minutes, I've got everything in for an entire day of PRS shooting. So let me bring the camera up here and I will, so we can film the screen of the Kestrel, and I'll show you all of the data in place exactly as it is right now. Let me move the camera. We are at sector 10 where we were. So I'm going to go ahead and just push the gear button and let's take a look at sector 10. So we just put it in and we're finding our way to, because I went all the way around instead of that. Okay, I have 426 and 554. That's exactly what I had in the book. So let's just go ahead and hit the center button. We can go up to sector, go back to sector 9. We're just going to turn back a page. It seems easier this way. And we're going to hit that, and I have 536, 690, and 847. Now notice it says D is 100 yards. That's your 0 range, and that's exactly what it should say. So we're just going to go ahead and hit the center button. We're going to go up to sector, hit 8, and we're going to hit back out, and 8 was 360 and 447. You see how easily that put all the data in that we needed for this. We push the back button, and stage 7, yes, I've already shot this, and I had a terrible time. I'd shot poorly. 333 and 549. You see how easy this is? Stage 6, 373, 305, and 490. It's all in there. I'm not going to go through all of them because I'm not wanting to really bore you to death, because I have some more stuff to show you. So let's say we start on stage 6 here. So the first thing we need to do when we arrive at a stage, because all of these are new, is we need to figure out your target inputs. So the first thing we're going to do is our target direction of fire. Let me back out real quick. So we select, let's actually change to a different one. Let's say we start on 4. Okay, I didn't look at 4. I don't know what's in 4. We'll check it against the book here in just a moment. Let me get to the book. So stage 4 is a single target, 600 yards. Okay, so we go to target inputs, we go down 1, we hit the center button. Now we're just going to capture the direction of fire of that particular one. Now, admittedly, with a tripod here, it's going to show something weird. 314 degrees, considering it's pointed probably south. Not too accurate, but that's okay because it's just all the steel that's around it. Hit capture, and that puts that particular direction of fire in for that target. Hit the back button, go down to wind inputs, and here we can do all target capture. Now, obviously, I would have to open the wind turbine, point the back of the Kestrel into the wind, and you just hit the center button and it starts capturing. Now, when you get done capturing, when you say, yep, that's what I think it is for the wind coming through the Kestrel, you hit the center button again to end the capture, then you have to hit it one more time to continue, and it inputs the wind for each and every target. And I'll do a quick wind grab here in a minute in a different location out here in the park. And from there, we just hit the back button twice and we have our target. We're at 3.31 for our elevation, and our wind 1 is 0.12 left, and our wind 2 is 0.12 left. Because our wind is 0, that's spindrift plus Coriolis for that shot. Let's say we're done with this stage. I just push the center button. We go up and we're going to go to stage 5. Stage 5 had 2 targets on it. That'll make it a little easier. So now we're going to go down to target inputs. We're going to hit the center button. Now, you have 2 situations. The targets can either be exactly directly in line with each other or very close to it, or they can be quite a bit different from each other. So in this case, let's say they're different. So I'd go down to the first target and say this 636 target, push the center button. I'm going to go direction of fire, hit the center, come down, hit the center again, and I just capture that direction of fire. I then back, go down to B, and we're going to see if we can offset it just a little bit here. I apologize for being off angle, but we're just going to try it. We're going to go capture, and it got 306. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Back. Now I have one at a 313 bearing and one at a 305 bearing. So I'm going to grab the Kestrel and just take a quick wind read real quick here. So let me go back, go down to wind inputs, and I'm going to take the Kestrel away for a moment and go get a wind input, and I'll be right back. Okay, I just hit end capture, and there we are. We're at the continue screen. So I just wanted to get it over here so you could see how I do this. Now I've hit end capture because I had the back of it pointed into the wind. And unfortunately, my wind direction was 12 o'clock. It didn't help a whole lot for what I'm trying to show you. I'll try again on the next one to get it a little more crooked for you to make it easier. So now that I've hit continue, all that wind is in there for both targets, and they're both the same relative their direction of fire. Okay. So I hit back again, and now I have 3.65 and 4.30 with a wind 1 of 0.14 and 0.13. You notice that there is a slight difference in the windage between the two because the angle of the 2 targets was about, 6 or 7 degrees off, which is about a 10% difference in the total wind speed. So it does make a difference in your windage. By the way, this particular screen is exactly what you need for everything you're trying to do. You have your range, which I was going to validate for you, is 636 and 702. It has wind 1, which is your average wind speed. It has wind 2, which is your high gust speed, which they were both the same at 2 miles an hour because the wind isn't blowing very hard. Your assumed lead. Now, if you're going to do a moving target, you're going to have to go back up in the menus to do a moving target. We'll do that in a different video. Our trace, that's how high the trace is going to be above the horizontal crosshair if you hold perfectly and stay still when you fire the shot. Remaining velocity at impact, because there's a difference in range, there's going to be a difference in velocity. You're going to lose 80 feet a second over that last 66 yards. Remaining energy, how hard are we hitting the target, and the time of flight. Almost a second on the far target. The amount of spin drift that is calculated in, and the amount of horizontal Coriolis, as well as the aerodynamic jump. Because of 12 o'clock wind, we aren't going to get an aerodynamic jump today. All right, that's all the data for that particular stage already figured out. And all we had to do when we came up to the new stage was determine the direction of fire for each target, if they're different, or capture them all at once. Then we capture the wind, and we have all the data we need to make that shot. Now, remember, you need to keep your environmentals up to speed as you're doing stuff. In this case, let's go ahead and back out and just take a look at our environmentals, because that was probably inside the house the other day. And yeah, about 20 degrees cooler here. Now we go down to our target card, and guess what? We get a completely different solution. Not completely, but a tenth off anyway on our elevation. We need more elevation when it's 20 degrees cooler. If you get to a stage, let me just back up here to one of the previous stages that I had here. Let's go to stage 9 and go to my target inputs. If I have an incorrect target in here, just like I showed you with the direction of fire, if I just go into that target, I can go into that particular target and just change the range on it. A couple of clicks if it's off, like say instead of 690 it being 695. I don't know if you can see this. Maybe, maybe not. So you just change that back out and it's now 695 for that particular one. So always range your targets and realize that you can update your Kestrel very quickly if you find a target that's off by a little bit. So guys, that's all it takes to have good data from your Kestrel so that you can shoot the next stage very quickly and efficiently and have an efficient workflow so that you can spend more time spotting targets, watching other shooters shoot, watching the mirage, and just getting generally ready in a time-compressed environment. If you don't prepare for each stage ahead of time, you may run out of time or find yourself delaying your squad, and nobody wants to do that. All right, guys, that's all there is to it. A Kestrel is a wonderful tool for making ballistic solutions for PRS shooting. But knowing how to use it effectively and efficiently is key to success. Your workflow when you get to a stage is critical for your success as a shooter, because you still have to find the targets, spot for other shooters, range the targets, and do all those other things. Until next time, shoot straight, and I'll see you in the next video.